Now our last game to recap. And speaking of teams that we picked to win the Pac-12 South, I picked USC, and oof, that feels now. Hey, Clay Helton, obviously, as we know, out the door, just got fired. But yeah, this was ugly. The reason he got fired is because Stanford beat them 42-28, and this is not a good Stanford team, in my opinion. And yet they just destroyed USC here. What is this? Is was this just Clay Helton? Like the team not playing for him? What happened here?
I'm not sure. I would love to tell you. I was very high on USC this year as well. I didn't have them winning the Pac-12 championship, but I nearly did. I almost did. I considered it for a long time. I really thought this was going to be the year. Like I thought that they could kind of break in and Keaton Slovis, veteran quarterback. No one else in the Pac-12 has a really great quarterback situation. Aside from maybe Arizona State. So you really felt like this is like USC still has talent. There's NFL guys like great quarterback. USC is going to be fine. Helton's fun. And then boom, like just to get this was not close. They got blown out by Stanford, a team who is not very good. Stanford is not very good at football. Do not get this twisted. Stanford got beat up week one by Kansas State. Like that's the same football team. They
Well,
got
they did
beat
make a
up by
quarterback
Kansas State.
change. Stanford did
No,
make a quarterback change, but yeah, it's still your point stands. Continue.
right. No, I understand. Tanner Key is now he's the starter. He played some against Kansas State. I no, I yeah, I understand that maybe it changed a little bit. They're not good though. This does not make them good. Even their win against USC does not make them good. This was a really bad look for USC. It ended up being what cost Clay Helton his job. Disappointment to me. Kind of a little Clay Helton, kind of a closet supporter of Clay Helton over here, but yeah, not anymore. So he's gone, and that's a huge job opening too. And we'll probably talk about that probably some, yeah, even in other pods, maybe even this off season. But just who they go for is going to be very interesting. Where their season goes from here is going to be interesting. What does Keaton Slovis do? Who's the interim coach? A lot of questions that I have, yeah, going from there.
Dante Williams, their DB coach, has been named their interim coach. Probably the best recruiter on staff. Has done a very good job just so far at USC. Came over from Oregon not too long ago. So I don't know. Like this might actually make them better this year. I don't know. That's maybe hard to say, and you never know how that's going to look just with an interim head coach and all of that. But just really quick, obviously we're going to talk more about this later. But what are some names you're looking for USC? Um, who do you think they might go after? Who do you think they should go after? Two different questions there, I guess.
Well, you should go after Lane Kiffin, and you should go to Oxford and get on a plane and try to beg Lane Kiffin to come back.
Can
Is
you
what you should
imagine?
do. Yes, that would be just all-time great television right there. Watching Lane Kiffin back in the Pac-12, but okay, not going to happen. That one's out. Too much water under the bridge, or bridges burned, whichever you choose. Eric Bieniemy though is probably the real answer. That's a name that's been kind of thrown out there. The Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator. That name has been floated, as well as Luke Fickell, Cincinnati, another name that's been floated out there. I'm going to say I would be kind of disappointed if they hired either one of those two. I think USC. I think Joel Klatt, the color guy for Fox Sports, he on Twitter just commented that you need to swing big, like go for the big guys. Make Ryan Day say no. Go after Brian Kelly. Sorry, no offense, Notre Dame fans. Go after some big names. Like really go after Dabo. Take your shots. Why not? See what happens, and then if not, then you can move down the list a little bit. But I wouldn't settle. Like at USC, you're a potential top five job if recruiting works out for you. Don't settle there. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see kind of how it plays out, and something that we'll need to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I think you can. It's not even really controversial to say USC is the only top 10 program on the West Coast that's coming to my mind anyway. Like, there's so much potential there. You mentioned Brian Kelly. Like, if you're Brian Kelly and they ask you to come, like, you have to consider it for at least 12 seconds. Like, you, you have to. One name I would look for, and obviously we're a Matt Campbell pod, so that would be another name to throw out there. My first phone call, I think, would be to Chris Peterson. And he might just be enjoying retirement too much to even consider it. But he's already had success in the Pac-12, and I don't think he would have to be like an ace recruiter at USC. Like in some ways, USC will recruit itself, and like that guy is money. Like I would be immediately terrified as a Notre Dame fan if they got Chris Peterson at USC. I just think to me that would be a clear slam dunk. Not that there's no other slam dunks they could make, but yeah, be very interesting to see what they ended up with. I do think it's USC. Like they are going to probably get a fairly big name, um, and some of those that you mentioned would be very interesting. Obviously, Bieniemy, what he's done with the Chiefs is very impressive. So we'll see going forward.